our price target for 2026 split adjusted is around $1,500 per share. It's going to totally change the game, and they're way ahead. And we see that they have nearly 1 billion miles driven in full self-driving beta. They have millions of cars on the road collecting data. That's much more than competitors.
Ark Invest's Tasha Keeney just reiterated the $1,500 price target for Tesla stock by 2026, and she was just on TV and reacted to Tesla's earnings report and Tesla's earnings call. At Ark Invest, she's the one who focuses on the autonomous technology research.
Tasha, of course, you're bullish. You're bullish on Tesla in the long term, in the here and the now, the production focus. Is there the demand to meet it?
Well, you're absolutely right. Our focus is over the 5-year forecast. Tesla's our top position in our IRKQ ETF. But so in terms of, this production goal, they did mention, I think if you go back to 2020, they're still on track over, a number of years to meet their 50% compound annual growth rate. I think that the fears of, margin and demand troubles are pretty overblown. Our research, we've used Wright's Law to forecast Tesla's gross margins over time. And basically, for every cumulative doubling in production, you get a corresponding reduction in price. We also know that they're unveiling a new vehicle platform, which should be roughly half the cost of the Model 3 and Y. I think that could be a custom-built autonomous vehicle. That's going to help margins. It's going to give a huge bump to margins in the long term, because I think autonomous platforms could have really attractive margin structures and recurring revenue associated with them. And then, the last thing I'll add is the main story here is that EVs are growing, right? So EVs as a category grew 60% year over year, while gas-powered cars were down 7%. So that's where Tesla is. I'd be worried about traditional autos, if anything.
I don't think they really appear to be worried. For example, Toyota is really committing to EVs, right? They are committing to 30 electric vehicles by 2030, and that they will sell 3.5 million battery EVs globally by 2030. Currently, they sell about 10 million vehicles per year, so that's not that many compared to how many they sell in total. Although Lexus would be all electric by 2035. However, if you paid attention, you would notice this is from 2021, not from 2022. Here's where they stand right now. This is a recent article. And Toyota president says solid majority not convinced on EV-only future. Toyota is not yet plotting to transition fully to EVs. It plans to mostly stick to its hybrid roots made famous by the Prius while exploring other options. What other options could there be, including hydrogen fuel cell vehicles? Because the right answer is still unclear. We shouldn't limit ourselves to just one option, says Toyota. I made a video a while ago why hydrogen for light vehicles makes no sense at all. The efficiency that you get from hydrogen is not that high. If you use hydrogen and if you use 100% renewable electricity, well, you do retain 33 to 42% of that original energy, which seems really good until you compare hydrogen to electricity. As you can see, you retain about twice as much energy, meaning with the same amount of energy, you can go basically twice as far. And there are multiple other reasons. This is just really not smart at all. It's quite dumb.
Are you worried in any way about the impact of Elon Musk himself on demand for Teslas going forward? Is in any way that being shown up in the demand erosion?
Yeah, Elon Musk has always been a pretty controversial figure. I'd say at a minimum, what do we have to go by? It's really Tesla's results. Again, so Tesla alone in the fourth quarter, we know grew sales by 40%.
It is so refreshing to see someone speak about Tesla and Tesla stock and make sense. That is quite rare.
Year over year, while in that same quarter, global auto sales were down roughly 8%. So that's what we have to go off of. He's a cult figure. I think he's really the person to drive the company towards reaching that full self-driving goal, where you can actually launch an autonomous ride-hail platform. So we're happy that he's committed to Tesla and sticking on for that.
I don't think if I would go that far and call Elon Musk a cult figure. He is now a political figure. So maybe if you are on the opposite side of his politics, you would certainly call him a cult figure, just like you would call any politician that is not in your party who is working against your party a cult figure too.
Tasha, I want to bring some more information, I suppose, to our audience about what you were talking about. In the shareholder deck, Tesla's talking about its next generation vehicle platform under development, additional details to be shared at the Investor Day, March the 1st, 2023. I think that's what you were saying about you suspect that that is some form of fully autonomous vehicle for the future. I want to bring it back to the here and now again, because a lot of what Tesla hinted at was the problems of 2024 were largely China related. It basically talked about the production issues largely being centered on the Shanghai plant. You look at margins where they came in, you look around the narrative on ASPs, average selling price. We went to our audience, okay, and we said, did those price cuts in North America, Europe, China push you to consider buying a Tesla? These are the results, pretty clear, although I would point out they changed over the course of the day, you know, with a good number of ballots cast, I suppose. Yes, Tesla's global price cuts have tempted at least our audience to buy.
As you can see in that poll, only 7% of the people say gas only, and it is 2023. What do you think that number is going to look like in 2030 when chargers are literally everywhere? Wherever you see a gas station, there's going to be a charger, basically. Charging is probably going to be faster as well. It's going to be more convenient. Batteries are going to be bigger, or at least range is going to be higher. So all of the inconvenient things about EVs are going to go away. What do you think that number is going to look like in 2030? Toyota?
Affordability. Is Tesla too expensive right now for a consumer?
You know, I think so. First of all, and I'm glad you showed that chart. One of the things that we learned is that since the price cuts, lead times have actually extended a bit. So we do know, we're already getting sort of initial indications of demand here. We also know that the price cuts made more vehicles eligible for tax credits. Of course, we don't actually model tax credits in our analysis. We think EVs are the solution longer term compared to gas-powered cars, regardless of regulation.
Yep. Tesla does not need these tax credits. No EVs really need any incentives at all. However, in the case of the US wants to move away from foreign entities of concern, for example, specifically China, Russia, and some others. In case of a conflict, the US does not want to lose all of the access to important materials. US wants to have all of the supply chain built in countries and territories that are friendly to the US, and ideally in US itself. So although EV automakers, they certainly don't really need any subsidies, we will still gladly take all of these subsidies and help US achieve its goals of creating a supply chain that is within friendly territories and outside of foreign entities of concern.
I think really that's the picture here, that electric vehicles are taking share. Tesla's the market leader. They've just invested in additional capacity. They're at a single-digit low percentage points of total auto sales. So I think there's still, Tesla is, and EVs, again, still single-digit percentage of total auto sales as well. So I think, that there's room to grow in both of those.
We've got a lot of questions on Twitter for you from our audience as well. Most of them are related to Tesla's energy business. What did we learn about the energy business going forward? Will it be more of a star?
Yeah, so they did highlight the energy business recently, and again with that factory expansion, they talked how they've seen some good growth in that business. Overall, like our model is mostly focused on vehicles. We think that they should, while Tesla Energy does offer a really interesting proposition to consumers, and actually we've done some work to show that energy storage combined with Bitcoin mining can offer a great proposition to even use make more use of renewable sources. But, that aside, what should you focus on for Tesla? In our opinion, it's electric vehicles and autonomy. Those are the two main stories here that I'd watch over the next 5 years.
I, of course, believe that Tesla will solve full self-driving. Here's one of the newest videos from Hallmark's catalog YouTube channel. You can see that it handles sharp turns really quite well. Of course, the system does not always work yet. That's a given. It's still in beta. Like in this case, it actually gets stuck behind this mail truck. It just does not go anywhere. So certainly there are bugs in the system. There are so many videos on Hallmark's YouTube catalog channel. Overall, they just keep getting more impressive.
Yeah, Tasha, really quickly, G. Munster of Loot points out that they guided to around 1.8 million vehicles for 23, which if you track a 50% compound annual growth rate doesn't make any sense based on last year's number. Do you see what I'm saying?
So last year, year over year, it does fall short of that 50%. But if you go back to 2020, you'd still be coming in over that, few year period with the 50% growth rate. So I think that's what they meant in their press release. Of course, I'm sure a lot of people will harp on that figure. But again, I think longer term, the story is electric vehicles are here to stay. And I'd be really worried if I was Ford or the other traditional auto manufacturers where the majority of their install base and the vehicles that they sell are gas-powered cars, which we see declining. That's not going away.
Right.
And by the way, they don't have a great autonomous solution either. They killed that project. So I think that's where the concern should be focused here, on the traditional auto market.
Tasha, the other question from our audience for you is, what does Elon Musk have to say on March the 1st at the Investor Day to convince us of that future that goes beyond Tesla just being a car company?
Well, like I said, I'm excited to hear more about the autonomous vehicle. They had said that they would mass produce a purpose-built autonomous car in 2024. We think that this could totally change Tesla's business model. Our price target for 2026 split adjusted is around $1,500 per share. I think over 60% of Tesla's enterprise value, could be attributable to that autonomous ride-hail platform. I think it'll have attractive software-like margins. It'll become a recurring revenue stream as opposed to, one-off vehicle sales that we see today. It's going to totally change the game, and they're way ahead. We see that they have nearly 1 billion miles driven in full self-driving beta. They have millions of cars on the road collecting data. That's much more than competitors.
Elon Musk on the earnings call said that when it comes to full self-driving, who is in second place? Well, right now, I don't think you could see the second place with a telescope. And Elon was right when he said that the previous time, really, you had to have a telescope to see the second place. Some companies have caught up to Tesla, and BYD now is in second place when it comes to EVs. But when it comes to full self-driving, there's no second place. And Elon is still spending time at Tesla. He was talking to the autopilot AI team until late night, the night before the earnings call. And here is the buying opportunity of Tesla stock presented by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Postis. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.